Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So guys, I wanted to come and discuss the whole saga taking place with the Jamaica Public Service, JPS in Jamaica. I wanted to come and give my 2 cents, my thoughts on the whole situation and what I think it means and what I think needs to be done to improve the situation, etc. Now, I know I don't live in Jamaica, so this doesn't affect me directly, but I have relatives in Jamaica. Practically 95% of my relatives still lives in Jamaica. And like most of my counterparts, I myself assist my family from time to time with financially. So it's not that affecting me directly, but it is affecting me indirectly. And as someone who's lived in Jamaica and been through the experience of what it's like to go through the incompetent energy system or the incompetent system of our society in Jamaica, yeah, it's just one of those things that I felt I need to address. And this is not a dig at the government or etc., but it's just one of those areas where it's very sensitive. And as many fellow Jamaicans, we all love our country. We love Jamaica. It's sunny, it's beautiful, but like myself, we tend to run because the economy, especially when you're not born in luxury, especially when you're not born, as they would say, with gold spoon in your mouth, you tend to want to launch out to greener pastures. And yes, I know it's not all green on the other side, but it is green in a lot of ways compared to the things that you have to endure there. So guys, I will be just trying to dissect different areas of the system and why this problem is still exists, basically. And just giving my thoughts, as usual, my 2 cents, the news broadcasts from TVJ, and then I'll come back with my thoughts, my views on the whole situation.
As complaints increase over high electricity bills, the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, has revealed that its customers are also bearing the cost of electricity theft. Director of Corporate Communications at the JPS, Winsome Callum, made the disclosure on Power 106 FM's Morning Agenda on Friday. O'Shane Masters reports.
Over the past few months, customers of a Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, have been up in arms with the electricity provider over the significant increases in their light bills. The Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, on June 16, reported that complaints to its offices via calls, letters and emails were up 209%. Meanwhile, complaints via social media have also risen sharply. But information from the power company has revealed that some of the company's losses are passed on to its customers.
Well, right now, the customers actually pay for about approximately 20% of the theft or overall losses, as we call it. You have technical losses and non-technical losses, and the customers actually pay for about 20% of that. The total amount of losses that we're looking at now is about 27%. So JPS absorbs about 6 to 7%, and the customers, the other 20% is spread across.
In the meantime, one JPS customer says the manner in which the company goes about dealing with electricity theft is unfair to its paying customers.
My greatest challenge is the flippant way that it was disclosed to us and the manner in which we were told that, yeah, this is what is happening. And I think what we would like to hear is, or personally what I would like to hear, is what's being done about it. Like, what are the strategies that are being put in place, consistently put in place, consistently executed? What are the long-term plans for this issue? Because it can't just be that, oh, well, there's electricity theft. It's a cultural problem. It happens. It's been happening for a long time. We're just going to charge you for it.
Director of Corporate Communications and Customer Experience at the JPS, Winsome Callum, says the company has launched a number of initiatives to deal with electricity theft. However, it's not something the company can tackle by itself.
It is a crime, and as you would appreciate, JPS cannot manage to deal with a crime on its own as an entity. So JPS has made several representation to the OUR, to the government, because we all need to work together on this. And the government has signaled its willingness to support on this, because there are things that are should be outside of JPS's control.
O'Shane Masters.
Please remember to follow Fashionable Clothing for Kids on Instagram. Their name is Fashionable Clothing for Kids. Just as I'm gonna put it on the screen. Their name is Fashionable Clothing for Kids, as you're seeing on the screen. I'll also put the link in the description box so you guys can click on the link and follow them. They sell wonderful clothing for kids, great quality prompt service. So guys, please go and check out Fashionable Clothing for Kids. And remember to also contact Samuel's Plumbing if you need a certified plumber in your area. He delivers plumbing service in Kingston, guys. So if you need a plumber in Kingston, you can contact Samuel at Samuel's Plumbing, and I'll put number on the screen. And guys, I'll put it in the description box. Very good service from Samuel Plumbing. Give him a buzz and let him know that the Essence of May sent you, and I'm sure that he'll give you a discount. So I remember hearing, like, when I was in Jamaica as a young lady, when I was there, I used to remember the whole rumor that you pay for those who are stealing electricity, and I don't think we ever believed that. We just thought that's impossible. But now it's been confirmed by JPS themselves that yes, you do bear the cost of those who steals the electricity. Now, I must say, obviously, that is not fair. I think that, you know, that's a far reach, and it's just unfair to ask someone to pay for someone else's use of something. But let's look at the bigger picture, guys. And this is the thing where JPS is not being very transparent. They're not being very candid about how the system works, etc. Which I think if you're open to people, and if you're upfront with people, then they'll understand. Maybe not fully, but they'll tend to understand in, you know, more than likely how the system works. Because most of us didn't know, and it's recently that I'm learning this, that when you pay your light bill, there's something called a demand charge. So it's not necessarily just theft. I know they keep focusing on theft, but I believe theft is like 13%, I think. 13% of the bill. But I know that there's something called a demand. So what this demand is where, you know, when you go, like, if you turn your switch on, you expect light to be there. And JPS has to make sure that that demand is always there. So whether or not your switch is on, whether your switch is off, it's just, so basically, say for example, you use a certain amount of kilowatt electricity per kilowatt hours, but on a given day, you use more that day. So say if JPS had just put this amount, X amount of kilowatt hours per week, then if you went over that, that would mean you would go over that demand, and then therefore you'd have an outage. But what JPS does is that it leaves that extra room, as far as I understand it, it leaves that extra room of demand. So just in case you use more or less, it doesn't matter. It's just that you'll always have electricity there and waiting for you. Now, this is where that comes in. This ties in because you have to pay for that demand. So you're paying for your bill plus the demand. And this is where they're not being very candid with people, because they tend to hide behind the guise of those who steal electricity only, and not explaining some of the different factors of how electricity is charged. Now, one of the shocking concern, in my opinion, for all of this, and you know, in 2020, you would think this would be improved. From I was a child growing up, this has always been an issue, is that JPS is the only energy provider. One, JPS is not owned by the government. Two, and JPS has been around since 1872, I believe. I think they've been around when Thomas Edison developed the light bulb. I know when it was, not when he just developed it, but I think it's when he perfected it. But I know that Jamaica, as far as I read, Jamaica had electricity way before America, which is crazy because obviously it's a third world country. So JPS has been around from the 18th century, guys. And we're in 2020 and we're still having these issues. And what I can't understand is, how can you have this multi-billionaire company and there's not even, because according to them, some of the issues is based on old fuel plants, old infrastructures and stuff like that. They don't have any also I know also they pay a lot of, I know also because Jamaica imports, I think it's fossil fuel. We don't really have we don't really have much renewable energy. So those are some of the things that is affecting the light bill. And instead of speaking to people one-on-one, just explaining to people, giving them an understanding of how it works and how your efforts or your extra payment is assisting to keep the economy running, then I mean they do it the way they do it. It's just one of those things which I think it's just one of those bad behavior with Jamaicans. Well, especially Jamaican government, well, especially Jamaican businesses. They tend to just do what they want and forget that it's the people that pays for it. You know, it's the taxpayer, it's us that pays for it. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it's just one of those things where, I mean, going forward, you would think that we'd be looking at ways. I mean, if I'm wrong, I would like to know, but can't we have competition in the market in Jamaica? Because in England we have like 70 different energy provider, which gives us option, which it's one of the good ways in order for there to be fairness across the market and where you don't have one dominating the market. It's like the airlines. You only have two airlines, so you tend to have higher prices in flights, where you'd have Jamaica, Air Jamaica as a competition. The more competition, the better it is for the consumer, which we're not seeing in Jamaica. We just have we only have JPS, which is so bad because energy is so globalized now. It's so modern that you think that there'll be, I'm sure there must be so many energy providers that can come and invest in Jamaica, that can come and provide a different source of energy for people to have the choice, for people to be able to choose, for there to be competition in the market. I want to read something quickly to you guys about how important competition is. And this is why laws were put in place just to protect consumers. So I don't really know why, but again, you know, the corruption. There's always some form of corruption in our society where people tend to just be the scapegoat at all times. And you don't really see much government initiative to look out for the well-being of people. It's just a matter of pleasing these investors, these shareholders, as opposed to the well-being of your people. And it's really sad because Jamaican people are lovely people, you know, and it's just like I have to put myself in it because I'm Brit. I've neutralized, but Jamaica is still in my blood. And I just think it's really sad that cared, you know, that to put the people's needs first is never really there. It's about putting how much they can get out of these investors. And sometimes they'll even sell us out as people just to get these investments. So it's really sad, you know, and they'll put us even at danger. There's so many corruption, you know, they'll put us even at danger. Because I just don't understand, you know, if you care about the economy, why can't you look at different sources, try to get other investors, try to target different countries to get investors into Jamaica, make it easier for them to come and invest so we can have different energy provider. I don't know, maybe it's impossible. I can't see how that's impossible, but I would have to look into that because I just think it's ridiculous. England, UK has 70 different energy provider. We can pick, we can choose. Sometimes the energy provider calling you, it's like they're begging you to come to them. I mean, it's good to have choices. And plus, even in the UK, one of the things I think is brilliant, you don't have to have a monthly plan. You can actually top up on your energy. So you can take a key and put energy on your key whenever you're ready, top up, and when it's done, then you go back. It's like a card. You buy a card and it tops up. So it's not like you have a bill to pay monthly. You pay as you go. You understand? You pay as you use. So you buy the amount that you want to use, and if it's done, you have to go buy again. So those are some of the different options. Choices are good, guys. Choices are good. It's good for the economy. It's good for people to have choices and not be swayed by one individual. It's the same thing with the phone companies in Jamaica. You don't have much choices. And one of some of the things is that the bigger companies, the conglomerates, they're the ones who tend to buy out the little companies, and then you lose that competition. So there's just one company controlling the market. And again, this is this, we find this a lot in Jamaica, where it's like we're being sold out. Same thing with Chinese businesses. They come and then you find the little Jamaican wholesales that are trying. They can't function because these Chinese businesses are able to function on a global scale compared to the little man that is trying to make something of himself there. But let me just read about antitrust. So antitrust is it's really dated back from the 18th centuries, and this was really when powerful companies working together as trusts to stifle competition, thus laws aimed at those companies, like I just mentioned, when you'd find so companies, because they want to dominate the market, they would tend to buy out the lower companies, and then they dominate. It's like British Airways and Virgin. Is it Virgin Media? Virgin, British Airways and Virgin, where I think both used to fly to Kingston and Montego Bay, but no, because they have now come up with an agreement where British Airways only fly to Kingston and Virgin only goes to Montego Bay. And for me, I don't think that's good, because if you look at the flight prices, they're very high. So again, it is so important to have competition. So that's why the antitrust was introduced in the late 1800s for that. But of course, we don't really see that much taking place. We don't really see that that being exercised in today's day. So it says that this was used, the antitrust legislation was used at protecting competition, have long been labeled, as I said. So fast forward to the 21st century. So antitrust came into play in the 1800s. And fast forward to the 21st century, you hear antitrust in news stories about competitors merging or companies conspiring to reduce competition. The FTC enforces antitrust laws by challenging businesses practices that could hurt consumers by resulting in higher prices, lower quality, or fewer goods or service. Basically, they're talking about like how it's important. Basically, these legislations are there so that greedy companies, individuals wouldn't try to basically stifle the market where there's only one supplier. And most businesses, they want that. They want to get rid of the competition, but competition is important for the consumer. So my question is, to our prime minister, like, why isn't there efforts to get competition in Jamaica? And I understand, yes, fuel is expensive. I understand the overhead costs. I understand all of that, but I don't think it's fair for people to be paying for something that they don't use. Now let me address the theft, because that's the big one. The theft. As someone who grew up in the inner city, I know all about the theft. Right? Growing up, is it a cultural thing? Is stealing electricity a cultural thing? I don't know. I just grew up knowing that around me it was just illegal, like electricity. Most people say that inner city people can't afford electricity. I don't think that's really true. I don't think that it's inner city people can't afford electricity. I think it ties down to a lot of factors. And it's the same way you find a lot of people don't go to university, or a lot of people don't go back to school. The system makes it so hard. And believe me, I know before you say anything, believe me when I say this, in order to get registered to pay electricity, you have to jump through so many oops just to get legal like electricity. And I've always thought, right? So you'd prefer to be losing money than make it easier for someone to register for electricity. So what usually happens is, most of the time, especially if you've stolen electricity before, it is more that you're more than likely unable to get electricity because you would have owned that previous bill. Now, this is my opinion, yeah? Now, I'm not saying that they should write that money off, but I would think, because you're saying you want to improve the economy, you want to reduce the theft, why not accept these people back? Because you don't know what their, the situation may be at the time. And yes, I do think, I'm not going to say it's cultural, but I just do think it's one of those habits, negative mindset, of inner city people, where they think that, the system owes them something, or probably they think they don't have to pay it, or they probably think that they've been robbed anyway, so why pay? But I just think, as a sensible person, you would think, wouldn't it be better to make it easier for these people to re-register onto the light system and then pay monthly installments towards what they owe? So it's like you're paying your bill but a little extra 100. I'm just saying, wouldn't that make more sense than to have the theft? But believe me, guys, to get electricity in Jamaica, it is a nightmare like everything else. So again, how are we going to solve the problem that we're claiming that is a big issue? Why is it so big issue? Because clearly we could be solving this. I know a lot of people who genuinely want. I'm sure there's a lot of people who genuinely want legal light. And I don't think that the inner city is so poor, because if you look at people in inner city, they wear better clothes than me, they wear better shoes than me. I don't think it's a matter of not having money. If they have to pay it, they have to come up with a way to pay it. You understand? I know people are hustling in the inner city. I know it's hard. I know you have to jump through hoops. But I think there is a way where even government initiative that can assist these payments so that they're not as high. Another thing that you're going to have to look at, right? And this is the one that I believe is definitely cultural. In the inner city, people waste electricity. I've seen it. It's something I've learned. This is something that I used to do growing up in the inner city. You walk, you leave the light on. It's bad practices that I had to get out of me when I came to the UK. Because when I first had an apartment in the UK, I used to leave my light on. I used to just walk out a room and the light is still on. And then based on my bill, I started to learn, you don't have to leave the light on when you leave that room. These are bad practices that we have to improve. We have to improve this in the inner city, because this, if it's not improved, if it's not addressed, then you're going to have the issues, because people are going to get high light bill, whether or not there's a demand charge, whether or not there's other charges. The fact that people waste energy in the inner city, I don't know where that came from, but there's a lot of bad habits that I cannot explain where they came from. But in the inner city, people just walk out of rooms and they leave the light on. They go in the next room, then they have that light on. They go in the back, and I always think, when I go back to Jamaica, I always say, no, this is not fair, especially if someone is paying for this theft. You understand? It's not fair for people to just waste it. And again, it's about what you're used to, because they're not used to paying for light bill. So it's like, and this is not for everyone, because like I said, not everyone in the inner city steals light. Some people have legitimate light. But again, because they're having to pay for that theft, sometimes they even lose their light as well. And to get your light back is so hard. The oops you have to jump in, it's just ridiculous. So these are some of the bad practices that we have to address. How people treat energy, how they treat things like that. They tend to waste it because for them it's free. And once you're getting something free, why preserve it? I tell people all the time, don't leave light on. Someone has to pay for it. Don't, even if you're paying, learn to turn your light off. Because in England, if you don't pay your bill, They're not going to straight away turn it off, but it's going to come in your bill and you have to pay it. So those are my thoughts, really. Definitely, I don't think it's fair for people to be paying that overhead cost of those who are stealing electricity. And two, this demand costs. I'm not going to say that it's wrong, but I think that Jamaica Public Service need to work. Come on, man, need to step up. It's 2020. Energy should not be this complicated still. These outdated plans, come on, man, there must be some investment to improve. Jamaica is not a poor country as people think. It's just that the money is kept in the investors' pocket and they go back to their countries. They come and they're the ones who have everything, because Jamaica owns nothing. So that Jamaica is the poorest country in the world. No, it's not. But again, it's just that investment. I mean, come on, man. We can do better. Energy should not be such a great issue. You know, it should not be such a great issue. And then we look at the fact that Jamaica's renewable energy is not that great. Those are some of the issues. Because even abroad, even in the UK, wherever, in the first world countries, that's what people are using, renewable energy. So it's just one of those things where it's just sad. And I don't think it's fair because people, you know, life is tough as it is. The pound, the dollar is so low. You know, the dollar doesn't have much value. The Jamaican dollar depreciates daily most of the times. It's just bad, you know. So it's not very good. And as much as someone has a job, you can't expect them to pay someone else's way. You know, you can't expect that. But again, people have to also understand that this is why tax is important. We get taxed a lot in the UK, but Jamaicans don't really want tax. And this is what pays for things. You have to pay. The country doesn't run itself. You have to pay to get things done, like free healthcare, stuff like that, better healthcare. People just don't want to be taxed more, which I think if you're earning a certain amount, a lot of money, you should be taxed to that level. That's just my opinion. And it's about helping each other to better our economy. But it's just one of those things. It's bad habits that needs to be broken, where electricity is wasted because people feel that they're getting it free. So why conserve energy? Why conserve what I'm getting free? And that is really sad for those who have to pay that cost. And also, Jamaica Public Service need to be more straightforward about things. Explain to people why this happened and how it happens. But, you know, sorry for my ranting, but, you know, it's really sad because Jamaica is my homeland. And I don't know. These things we think should be better, but it's like, it's just dwindling, you know. Jamaica needs to come on. Jamaica can do it. We have so much talent. We have so much wonderful people. We can do this. Jamaica can get up to par where we start to hone things again. Where we start, Jamaica should be, so Jamaica, energy is something that the government should own, not private sector. And some of these things are one of the main issues, because when you have private sectors, they don't necessarily care about the people. But then again, to be fair, sometimes even the same politicians that is supposed to care about you doesn't even care anyway, because everybody's all about themselves. And this is what it's driving the world, you know, pushing a wedge between people, because people just want more for themselves, and the more they put in their pocket, they're happy. And the less that others have, you know, they're happy with that as well. And that's just one of the big issues, because this light situation is not good at all. You know, we need to do better as an economy. We need to address these issues where people need to break these bad habits. Those in the inner city, people has to pay for this, and Jamaica Public Service need to make it easier for people to register a meter. They need to make it easier for people to register a meter. Sometimes they're like, oh, they're not letting people register because they don't have a job. But you don't know, maybe people can hustle a 5,000 or something like that. What you'd rather, they steal the light? Rather them steal the light than to be on a meter where they're paying something towards. Just think. Makes more sense to try to regulate back some of these meters. And those that even owe bill, actually just set up a plan like what the UK would do. I know you're not the UK, it's not about following everything, but take good cues. UK economy is not perfect, but it thrives in the best way possible. Take cues where you let people come back on the give them their meter back, and they pay a little per month. And I believe that will solve most of our problems, in my opinion. And just be more transparent, care about people, and to be fair, light bill doesn't have to be that much. Honestly, you can do better. You don't have to. Yeah, it doesn't. It's not that bad. You know, people need to stop trying to pocket for themselves and think about the economy and how we can better the society. That's just my 2 cents, guys, as always. But I thank you guys for listening. I thank you guys for your support. Guys, I'm on the countdown to 200. I can't wait. Countdown. I think by tomorrow I'll hit 200 subscribers. But guys, thank you as always for watching. Thank you for your support. Please do subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And click the bell notification to be notified whenever I post a video. And guys, until next time, you do have yourself a wonderful evening. And until next time, Godspeed. Bye.